It's 6 p.m. on a Thursday here in Korea. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Che. Let us begin with the headlines. The 2016 general election results are out. The Minju Party of Korea celebrates securing a majority in parliament for the first time in 16 years, while the conservative Saenuri Party accepts defeat and its leader steps down. And the new People's Party exceeds everyone's expectations, including their own. With the Minju Party gaining majority at the National Assembly, the Saenuri Party's controversial quantitative easing proposal is set to be replaced by the Liberal Party's economic democratization pledges. Seoul and Washington ramp up their partnership on the peaceful use of nuclear energy. This means the two allies will hold regular discussions on all matters of mutual interest pertaining to atomic energy, starting with the first session today. It's a brand new day for Korean politics, a vastly different political landscape with the Saenuri Party suffering a crushing defeat in Wednesday's general election. It was deprived of the parliamentary majority it had hoped for amid a public backlash against the internal disputes that characterized its candidate nomination process. Park Jong-hong starts us off.
The Saenuri Party's defeat marks the first failure by the ruling camp to secure a majority in 16 years. The National Election Commission says out of the total 253 electoral districts, the main opposition Minju Party of Korea won 110, followed by the Saenuri Party with 105 and the splinter opposition People's Party with 25. But including the seats allotted based on the proportional representation system, the final figures come to 123 for the Minju Party, 122 for Saenuri, and 38 for the People's Party. The Minor Justice Party claimed 6 seats and Independents 11 out of the total 300-seat National Assembly. What's most notable is the landslide victory by the main opposition in the Seoul metropolitan area, where it seized more than 80 out of 122 seats up for grabs. Even though the ruling camp downgraded its forecast right ahead of the vote, it fell far short of its target and has become a minority, having to face the opposition, which combined will control a majority. The People's Party is seen to be the real winner, with results that exceeded almost everyone's expectations. The election outcome is crucial as it will shape the legislative landscape for the next 4 years and possibly even the presidential race in late 2017. Park Jong-hong, Arirang News.
The three main political parties have issued their responses to the election results. Park Ji-won shares them with us.
The election results were particularly painful for the ruling Saenuri Party, which failed to achieve its minimum goal of securing a majority in parliament. Taking responsibility for his party's disappointing performance, party leader Kim Moo-sung, who had previously said he would resign after the election regardless of the result, stepped down from his post this Thursday morning.
The public judged us with fierce whips, and we suffered a crushing defeat. This all happened because we forgot that politics is all about respecting and fearing the public. The Saenuri Party is responsible for all the results, and we accept it as a strict command from the public, never to fail them again.
The main opposition Minju Party of Korea, which fared very well considering the liberal vote was split with the new minor opposition People's Party in the picture, thanked the public for its support. Interim leader Kim Jong-un said Thursday morning the election results represent the public's judgment on the incumbent government, particularly its economic policies.
The Park Geun-hye administration and the Saenuri Party had to realize at this point that it was all about the economy. It is just natural that the government that failed to address the livelihoods of the people will be judged by the election. That's the power of the ballot, which is stronger than bullets.
The minor opposition People's Party also thanked the public for their votes. The party has emerged as a real winner here, as it will now play a crucial role when a majority is necessary at the National Assembly. The party's co-leader An Cheol-soo said this election demonstrates the country's desire for change.
This election was not a victory for politicians, but for the people. It was a command to practice politics not for the sake of politicians, but for the people. We will be more humble and we will listen to the voices of the people.
The minor opposition Justice Party, which garnered 6 seats, also said the election showed the public's desire for change and its wish to end the worn-out two-party system. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
The election results have put President Park Geun-hye, who has less than 2 years left in office, in a difficult position when it comes to her policy initiatives. Song Ji-sun has the reaction from the nation's top office.
Speaking in response to the Saenuri Party's crushing defeat, the presidential office of Chung Hwa-dae said the new look National Assembly should strive to improve the livelihoods of the people.
We hope the 20th National Assembly will truly care about the livelihoods of the people and work for their best interests. We believe the people's demand for that has been reflected in this election.
Reading between the lines, the statement represents a call for cooperation from the newly elected lawmakers to help the administration's efforts to revive the economy. 2016 is a key year for President Park Geun-hye's policy initiatives, as it is the final year of the president's 3-year economic innovation plan and a finish line for a push for major reforms. President Park has continued to call on the parliament to pass related bills, saying that legislation completes policy initiatives. But those initiatives stand little chance of being approved by the Liberal Minju Party of Korea and the People's Party, which now have a combined 161 seats to the Saenuri's 122. Now that the conservative Saenuri Party no longer has the parliamentary majority, President Park may have to shift strategies in order to persuade the Liberal parties to pass the bills crucial to our policy drives. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
It's not just the National Assembly that's being shook up by the election results. It will have a profound impact on the big one next year. Lee Ji-won fills us in on how the general election provides a sneak peek at the political landscape of the presidential race 2017.
This year's general election was something of a litmus test for next year's presidential election, and a number of contests were seen as crucial for predicting which candidates could throw their hats into the ring next year. One of the more critical contests was in Jongno District in central Seoul. It is home to 3 former lawmakers who were later elected president, heightening the anticipation for this year's parliamentary race. The contest between 2 political heavyweights ended with a victory by the incumbent, the main opposition Minju Party of Korea's Chung Se-gyun. The win gives Chung his 6th term in parliament, in addition to positioning him as a possible presidential candidate. Chung was up against 2-term former Seoul Mayor Oh Se-un of the ruling Saenuri Party, who was also a rising presidential candidate. Another notable result came out of Daegu's Suseong district. Despite the area being the conservative Saenuri Party's stronghold, Saenuri's Kim Mun-soo was defeated by the Minju Party's Kim Bu-kyum, who is now on his way to a 4th term in parliament. The most closely watched races this year featured the 3 parliamentary candidates most widely viewed as possible presidential hopefuls. One of them, People's Party co-leader An Cheol-soo, defeated Saenuri Party newcomer Lee Jun-seok and solidified his presidential aspirations in the minds of voters. The Saenuri Party's Kim Mu-sung had frequently been mentioned as a possible presidential candidate, but the disappointing result for his party in Wednesday's election clouds his chances. Although he held on to his seat in the Junggu and Yeongdong-gu district, the Saenuri Party's defeat prompted Kim to resign as party chair, as he'd promised to do before the election. Kim wasn't the only party leader to put his presidential aspirations on the line in this election. Moon Jae-in, the former Minju Party leader, also said before the election he would not run if the party didn't secure a victory in its stronghold of Jeollado province. In Wednesday's election, the party captured just 3 of the region's 28 seats, raising questions about Moon's next move. Lee Ji-won, Arirang News.
Staying on the topic of election impact, the economic revitalization plans by the Park Geun-hye administrations and the fallen Saenuri are likely to fall by the wayside. Hwang Ji-hye takes a closer look at how pledges made by the Minju Party are expected to gain momentum.
With the general election that was dominated by concerns about the state of Korea's economy now over, the focus is on how the results will affect economic affairs. as Saenuri Party's defeat signals a bumpy road ahead for both the government and the ruling party. Pundits say Saenuri's controversial campaign pledge to start quantitative easing will likely lose steam. The governing party had proposed the central bank buy bonds from state-run banks and purchase mortgage-backed securities, but its loss in the polls means a slimmer chance of winning parliamentary approval, which is a must to move forward.
Under the current law, the Bank of Korea can purchase or sell only government bonds, so to buy corporate bonds or other debt, legal amendments would be required.
The economic democratization pledges made by the Minju Party of Korea, on the other hand, will now be thrown into the spotlight. The Liberal Party has vowed to inject roughly $130 billion into welfare programs by raising corporate taxes. Regardless of the election results, the government says it will remain focused on its economic policy initiatives, which have been virtually dormant for some time due to the election. It will lay out fresh measures to help create more jobs for young people and women later this month. Still, its efforts to get key economic bills on labor reforms and the service sector through the National Assembly will likely be hampered, as the Saenuri Party has let its parliamentary majority slip through its fingers. Hwang Jae, Arirang News.
Switching gears now, there are growing signs North Korea could conduct a ballistic missile launch or even a nuclear test soon. Kim Hyun-bin updates us on the developments and how South Korea's military is keeping a close eye on the regime.
A spokesman for Seoul's defense ministry said Thursday that North Korea is capable of conducting a fifth nuclear test and intercontinental ballistic missile launch at any given moment.
Kim Jong-un ordered his troops to prepare for a nuclear-tipped ballistic missile test on March 15th. We believe that there is a possibility Pyongyang could conduct a fifth nuclear test and ballistic missile launch, including a launch of a Musudan missile.
The statement comes as Pyongyang prepares for a rare ruling party convention in May, the first in over 3 decades.
Kim Jong-un will want to produce results out of the Workers' Party Congress, so there's a high possibility he will conduct a fifth nuclear test or fire Musudan or ICBM.
U.S. media reported this week that an American intelligence satellite had detected signs of ballistic missile movements in North Korea. The images indicate Pyongyang could fire its mid-range Musudan missile or its KN-08 or KN-14 ICBM. The Musudan has a range of 3,000 kilometers, while the KN-08 and KN-14 have ranges of roughly 12,000 and 10,000. Both are capable of reaching parts of the U.S. mainland.
South Korea's defense ministry is keeping an eye out for potential provocations from the north in the coming days and weeks. Friday is Kim Il-sung's birthday, the regime's founder, and Pyongyang is set to hold its Workers' Party of Congress in early May, the first of its kind in 36 years. Kim Hyun-bin, Arirang News.
Seoul and Washington held their first high-level committee meeting on nuclear energy in Seoul this Thursday as a follow-up to their nuclear energy accord reached last year. For details, we turn to our Kwon So-hwa.
South Korea and the U.S. have expanded their cooperation in the peaceful use of nuclear energy by vowing to hold regular discussions on anything of mutual interest related to atomic energy. This as the two allies held the inaugural session of the high-level bilateral commission on nuclear energy in Seoul Thursday, led by Seoul's Vice Foreign Minister Cho Tae-yeol and U.S. Deputy Secretary of Energy Elizabeth Sherwood Randall, and attended by around 80 officials and experts in the field from both countries.
We are eager to expand the existing cooperation between our two governments and between our nuclear industries.
We will be able to produce concrete benefits from peaceful uses of nuclear energy while upholding our non-proliferation commitments. And they are proof that President Obama's grand vision for a world without nuclear weapons is not only realizable, but indeed it has choice for all.
Seoul and Washington's previous discussions on the topic took place on a case-by-case basis and mainly focused on atomic materials, equipment, and technology. But now the two have adopted a joint work plan that includes the Spent Fuel Management Working Group, which involves research and development by scientists from both countries, another that ensures nuclear energy facilities always have a supply of nuclear fuel, a third that promotes nuclear energy exports, which is expected to produce economic benefits, and finally, a group dealing with nuclear security issues. The meeting comes after the first bilateral nuclear energy accord between the two countries in more than 4 decades. The agreement, which took effect in November, allows Korea to expand its peaceful nuclear activity through research and potentially produce low-enriched uranium. The committee was launched in Washington last month to iron out details. Seoul's Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se says the committee is a great example for the rest of the world of the peaceful use of nuclear energy. That could also send a significant message to North Korea to put an end to its reckless nuclear threats. Kwon So-ah, Arirang News.
Seoul is home to 5 royal palaces, and 2 of them will soon be open for evening visits. The Cultural Heritage Administration announced on Wednesday that Gyeongbokgung and Changgyeonggung palaces will open in the evenings from April 30th until June 2nd. The entry fee is the same as the daytime, during roughly about $3 for Gyeongbokgung and $1 for Changgyeonggung. But people wearing a hanbok, the traditional Korean style of dress, will be admitted free of charge. During the period, the palaces will also offer cultural events, including plays and outdoor concerts. We've come to the end of our newscast. As always, thank you for watching.